The Taliban were basically in their positions ready, and it was go time. I shot him in the throat, this guy who would have been the same age as me. And this was where the anger of having lost a friend even before we'd arrived there, and everything that had already happened on the tour so far had really crept into my mindset for the first time, and it was the first time I ever pulled the trigger with genuine anger and resentment. I'm Ted Shirley, former British Army sniper. Let me tell you about my story. It had always been a dream of mine to be a sniper. It was one of two dreams, and I was adamant at some point it would be my career choice. From what you'd see in films and stuff like that, those aspects are true. You know, we are held, especially British snipers, we are held to a standard. And I believe that's the best standard in the world. But I think the reality of actually what it means to be a sniper and the levels of concentration that have to be consistent while you're on a roof, or while you're awake in your waking hours, you are constantly having to be so aware, because you've got the abilities, the capabilities to see the further targets, to gain that intelligence, and you've trained really hard to be able to do this sort of thing. One of the lads from the 2nd Battalion, he got killed in Afghan, so that, again, another motivator, for darker reasons, became a motivator for us to train harder and become better, and make sure that we were the best asset that we could be to the lads on the ground. American Special Forces had moved into an area, they'd gone to do a strike op, and they had taken severe casualties, including the chopper pilot. Early hours of the morning in the dark, we all loaded onto Chinooks, and off we went for a very short flight. And as we started arriving in the area of the drop zone, all of a sudden hell broke loose. I was the only sniper with them. The other snipers had moved off with the other teams. So instantly, as soon as we'd taken over our designated compound, I jumped up on the roof and started to scan the area. And as I was doing this, I noticed a motorbike in the far distance, sort of 750 metres away. And there was a guy on his own, and he disappeared behind these buildings, and then a few minutes came back. So I spoke to the boss down on the ground, who's just sort of stood underneath me, and he's on the radio relaying everything that I'm saying. And I said, right, I'm going to let off a warning shot and just let them know that they've been seen, because I don't want them to have the confidence of thinking that they've got the upper hand. I want them to know that I have got eyes on you. I prepared my weapon and fired probably a couple of metres in front of the front tyre of the motorbike. As I did that, this crescendo of noise erupted from all around us, and the Taliban were basically in their positions ready, and it was go time. This firefight lasted for 13 hours, with me on the roof constantly. I could see this guy hidden behind a tree, sort of behind an embankment, and he had an AK-47, and he was, I'm pretty sure he was aiming at me. It looked like his barrel was directed straight at me, and his rounds were, they were getting close. He was opening up, getting behind cover, and so it was calculations time. And this was where the anger of having lost a friend even before we'd arrived there, and everything that had already happened on the tour so far had really crept into my mindset for the first time, and it was the first time I ever pulled the trigger with genuine anger and resentment. I shot him in the throat, this guy who would have been the same age as me, probably, and as he's gone down, he's sort of, this image stayed with me for many years to come. This young guy sort of holding his throat together, and he's holding his hand out, and he's calling out to someone behind the building. And as he's doing that, another insurgent has run out with an AK-47, let off a few rounds, and he's ran towards him. And so I've reloaded and took another shot and took him out, and this went on and on and on until it ended up that I'd taken out 5 Taliban fighters in the same area, and the image of that I could not get out of my head for a very long time. It haunted me day and night. It is unpalatable, and but it's unimaginable as well, I suppose, for civvy life you know, for someone to be able to imagine wanting to go and to get into firefights and, you know, do the worst of humanity. I imagine it's unfathomable.
What's the lived reality of PTSD compared to what people might perceive it to be?
Yeah, PTSD is so complex. A slammed door would have me diving on the floor. I wouldn't be able to walk down a busy shopping aisle in Tesco's because it'd feel like a choke point. And these irrational fears and thoughts and a constant readiness. You're constantly living in a state of readiness where you picture the worst case scenario for every single day, and until you're prepared for that scenario, you can't go about your day. My first flashback was horrendous. I felt like I'd been hit by a train. I didn't know what had happened. It actually happened in camp. We'd all gone to get our weapons from the armoury. This was the first time after coming back from tour. And as I went to sort of make safe my weapon and lifted it up and sort of peered down the scope, this intense heat and ringing in my ears came about that dropped me to my knees, and I started to throw up. I had no idea what was happening. I was shaking, my eyes went black, I couldn't see, and all I could smell was dust and hear screams and gunshots in the background of my mind, and that was absolutely terrifying. So this all progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse. I was getting in trouble with the law. Things were getting very much out of hand with drinking and violence, and just this sadness that I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get out of bed sometimes for days on end. I was medicated up to the eyeballs that just sedated me. And then in 2012, I attempted to take my life. I thought that was the best option. But it ended up me spending 3 months in a psychiatric ward then, on sort of a 15-minute interval suicide watch, and the idea of someone thinking I was weak tormented me for years and years and years. Whereas it could have been saved. My career could have been saved, that's for sure. With just talking, just being able to talk, yeah. So the idea that PTSD is for life, which I'd heard so many times, is incorrect, and it was one of the very main reasons I tried to end my life. And I believe in other people who I know have ended their lives. I believe that is one of the big factors. It's not true. You just need to dedicate yourself to change and improvement. Yeah, I sell vintage clothes now. My life is very much polar opposites, yeah. It's all about happiness and peace and enjoying my time. So one thing that I'm very adamant on is, you know, you don't know how long you got on this earth, so every day is a gift, and I am very, very grateful for every single day. Every day I wake up and I'm grateful, because like I said, I've been to the edge of that cliff. I wanted to die. No, I don't. I want to live.
Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.